Hi, Mystery Reviews here. Today I'm going to show you an action movie called Monkey Man. The movie starts in India. A lady named Neela tells her son about the story of the god Hanuman. The story says that the monkey god ate the sun, so the other gods took away his powers as punishment. In a room full of excited people watching a wrestling match, a fighter wearing a monkey mask gets beaten up badly by the other fighter. The audience puts their bet money in a wooden box held by a young child. After the fight, the owner of the club, Tiger, announces that fighter King Cobra has won. Meanwhile, the disappointed monkey man walks towards the dressing room. He has a bleeding mouth from all the punches, so the kid helps him clean up. When he thinks about the night the police attacked and burned his village, Kid stops himself from dwelling on sad memories of his past. In the locker room, he hears Tiger's voice and looks towards Kid, who gets paid a small amount for being in the fight. Kid asks for more money, but Tiger tells him to try harder next time to earn more. The rising religious and political leader Baba Shakti is becoming popular with the public. While watching the news at a simple restaurant, a boy named Lucky asks Kid for money in exchange for important information. After buying juice and paying, he listens to Lucky talk about a woman named Queenie who owns an expensive restaurant and is very confident. The story changes when Queenie refuses to give money to a beggar, and he accidentally spills her drink. The beggar then distracts her and steals her wallet. He passes the wallet to different people until it reaches a kid. Kid looks inside the wallet and finds a card leading him to a famous restaurant. He waits outside for a long time to get in. Finally, a man brings him to Queenie. Kid gives back her wallet, saying he fought two beggars to get it and wants a job at the restaurant as a thank you. He refuses any money and agrees to work there for as long as he likes. He shows Queenie his burnt hands to prove he's tough. Then, he sees a picture of his mother's killer, policeman Rana, with Queenie, and remembers the night his mom was burnt. Queenie snaps him back to reality and agrees to hire him as a cleaner. Kid starts working and meets Alfonso at the restaurant the next day. Alfonso sells different types of weed to rich customers at the restaurant and offers to help Kid. Few days later, Kid goes to a shop and asks shopkeeper for a special item. The shopkeeper knows it's a secret and tells the child to take him to a nearby house. The person in the house sells illegal weapons. Kid chooses a suitable gun for his task and leaves. The next day at work, Kid sees Queenie making fun of Sita for complaining about tough customers. Queenie blames her for overreacting, then calls Kid over. She tells Kid to face the wall and pays Alfonso to get drugs for the clients while she brings in the girls. After Alfonso leaves, Kid follows him and suggests they become friends to make lots of money. He mentions his fight club and asks Alfonso to bet on his defeat as proof. Alfonso thinks he'll win that way. He bets on losing, but ends up winning money in a fight at the club. Then he takes him to a fancy place to sell drugs to rich customers. At the restaurant, there's a menu for customers to pick girls to accompany them. Kid sees a man leading a young girl into his room. Later, Alfonso kindly offers the child a ride in his cool vehicle, which happens to be a very fast auto rickshaw. They drive through the entire city in the middle of the night. The next day, while serving drinks in the same hall, Kid sees the same girl, Sita. A person was sitting with someone who began acting in a bad way. Kid remembered the night her mother died. There were attacks in the village, and the people were told to leave, but they didn't listen and stayed until the whole town was burned. Kid couldn't stand seeing the bad behavior towards the girl and left the room quickly. He sits outside the restaurant using the back door when a stray dog comes up to him. He gives the dog some food from the trash. Sita shows up and notices he's upset about something at work. She tells him to quit if he can't handle it. Instead of answering, he asks her about the tattoo of a quail bird on her arm, which means she likes to sing beautiful songs. In the following days, he practices shooting to improve his aim. He also trains his dog to bring him the gun through the back door. He keeps working at the restaurant while practicing shooting until he gets really good and feels ready for anything. On the last day, he brings drinks to the hall with Alfonso. He gains entry to a special area for the first time, planning to kill his target. He then sees policeman Rana sitting with Sita. Kid secretly mixes bathroom acid in Rana's drink. He also puts powder on Sita's leg and sniffs it, causing his nose to start bleeding. Nervously, Rana goes to wash his nose in the bathroom. At that moment, Kid aims his gun at him, reminding him that he killed his mom. Unfortunately, Rana sees Kid's trembling hands and kicks the gun away. Meanwhile, guests hear the gunshot and start running out of the hall. On the other hand, Kid attempts to kill Rana with all his might, but he keeps missing. Once again, he fails to grab the gun from another man, and it slips away. Rana overpowers Kid and stabs a knife into his thigh. Kid removes the knife and thrusts it into Rana's back. After that, he tries to flee the restaurant and finds a path to the parking area. Alfonso is already there with a crowd. Kid gets in the rickshaw, brings Alfonso aboard, and drives away as fast as possible. They evade police vans multiple times. A helicopter is circling in the sky to track them. They stop the small taxi and run, but the police chase them. They finally catch him, but Alfonso gets away, feeling sorry for leaving Kid behind. Kid wakes up in the police van with handcuffs and sits between many police officers. He attacks the police before they can react, taking their gun. He hurts the police and unlocks the van. Kid runs and goes into a place where people pay for company. The police search for him like wild animals in every corner. Kid leaves the place and starts running again on the streets. He runs on the top of the house when a shooter in the helicopter shoots at him. He falls into the water. As a young child, the kid's mother used to take him to a stream, where she would tell him that he was strong and capable of defeating enemies like Hanuman. One day, his mother examined the lines on his hands and said that they revealed his life's path. She asked Kid what he wanted to do with his life. When he opened his eyes, he found himself surrounded by many faces. They had treated his bullet wounds and were caring for him. They were eunuchs, and Alpha urged him to stay and seek revenge once he recovered. Despite not wanting to wait, Kid, aware that the police were searching for him, chose to hide alongside these people. Meanwhile, Shakti Baba is getting more and more followers every day. He's becoming more popular each day. Rana visits him to find and stop his attacker, but Shakti tells Rana to forget about that and concentrate on the upcoming elections. Meanwhile, Kid watches the eunuchs celebrating. They're sitting around a fire, joking and having a good time while Shakir plays the tabla. The evening gets darker, but Kid can't enjoy being around others or smile at the jokes. Finally, he gets up and sits alone by himself. Alpha joins him and, seeing his suffering, takes Kid to their special tree, which is lit up with lots of lamps at night. Alpha can feel Kid's growing anger and desire for revenge. He reminds Kid how important it is to hold on to his anger and pain in order to seek revenge. Alpha assures him that his pain will turn to relief once he gets his revenge. Then, he picks a flower from the sacred tree and crushes it into powder in his hand. This powder will help Kid remember his anger. He throws powder into Kid's face, and suddenly Kid remembers seeing his village burning in extreme pain when he was a child. He feels a sharp pain in his chest. Kid rips open his clothes and his chest, feeling the intense heat inside. On that day, the entire village was watching a Hanuman and Sita puppet show when the police, ordered by Shakti Baba, arrived. Shakti Baba wanted the village's land, so he sent the police to forcefully remove the villagers from their homes. The police started burning the houses and killing innocent villagers wherever they found them. Rana, leading the whole operation, looks at Kid's mother with bad intentions. Knowing what Rana wanted, Kid's mother told him to hide on the roof and stay there, no matter what. In a few minutes, Rana stormed into the house and began touching Kid's mother in a bad way. She took out a hidden knife and stabbed Rana. After Rana attacked her, he ordered his subordinate to burn her. Kid saw everything from a small hole in the roof and ran to save his mother from the fire, but he couldn't help her, and he burned his own hands trying. The police set the whole village on fire. Alpha sees the burns on the child's hands and tells him to use the pain as his strength to fight against the system. Meanwhile, Shakti Baba does yoga at home calmly. Kid starts feeling better and gets ready for payback. He hits the punching bag and feels unsure about continuing, but Master Shakir notices his hesitation and plays the tabla to create a rhythm. The tabla's music helps him keep going for a while. The other eunuchs applaud as he punches the bag, and he gets faster over time. Eventually, he gets tired and can't keep up with the fast beats of Master Shakir's tabla. Shakti incites widespread violence in the country, fueling tensions between different groups. Meanwhile, Kid dedicates himself to rigorous training, finding inner peace through music. When Master Shakir stops playing the tabla, Kid proves his endurance. Recognizing Kid's readiness for a major challenge, Alpha faces a daunting government notice to either leave their home or pay a large sum, which they cannot afford. Kid hears of their struggle and decides to offer assistance in his own way. He prays and takes the money from the donation box. Meanwhile, Alfonso sees posters on the wall advertising a fight in the club between Monkey Man and Cobra. At the same time, a young boy named Lucky gives money to a man to bet on Monkey Man winning. A large crowd gathers to watch the fight that day, and Tiger is confident that Monkey Man will lose. He collects a lot of money from the spectators and bets on Monkey Man's defeat. When the fight begins, to everyone's surprise, Monkey Man defeats Cobra with the very first kick, unlike in past fights. Tiger wants to keep the excitement going, but Cobra doesn't move. Despite their efforts, Tiger brings in another fighter to battle Monkey Man and keep the show going. After a few punches, the new fighter also gives up, and the audience cheers for Monkey Man. They see his strength as similar to Hanuman's power, and Alfonso feels proud of his friend as he watches the fight. Kid receives a lot of money for Kid's victory and puts it all in a bag, hanging it on the statue. Inside the bag, the eunuchs find a note reminding them to remember who they are. On Diwali, the whole country celebrates in their own way. Meanwhile, Monkey Man plans his revenge for that day. Shakti Baba arrives at the hotel that night amidst a large crowd, receiving a warm welcome. Queenie aims to make everything perfect for her guests. Rana is put in charge of security, while Shakti sits in the main hall. Kid enters the hotel and overwhelms the security in the corridor. Several masked individuals entered the parking area together. Kid then made his way to the kitchen and subdued any resistance using knives and colanders. Setting the area on fire, he moved forward and encountered security personnel in the elevator. Overpowering them with his strength and strategy, he swiftly dealt with one of them. As the lights turned off, people in the hall sensed danger. The elevator light blinked, and its door opened to reveal a fallen body. Meanwhile, Kid ignited small firecrackers and hurled them into the crowd. Kid fights and defeats men who come at him. Meanwhile, others quickly leave the hall. Suddenly, the elevator door opens, and security guards surround Kid to attack him. Just as Kid considers his next move, Alpha and several followers enter the hall. Kid regains his strength, and they fight back with full force. They defeat many enemies, but Alpha urges Kid to stop wasting time and go after their foe Rana. Kid heads for the elevator, but Queenie aims her gun at him. At the same time, Sita hits Queenie on the head with a tray, causing her to fall. Kid cuts Queenie's thumb to get into the secret room and use her fingerprints. Holding her thumb, the child looks for Rana. Rana underestimates the child's strength and starts hitting him hard. Kid takes a few punches and then gets angry. He starts punching Rana until he can't get up. Kid grabs Rana's hair, hits his head on the floor, and punches him in the face. Remembering how Rana harmed his mother, Kid hits Rana's face with shoes and punches him until he dies. The hotel security doesn't come to help Rana and chooses to hide to save themselves. Once again, the child remembers his house burning and cries in front of it like he did when he was young. He knows Shakti Baba is behind all this violence and hate. He rides the elevator to find the main person responsible for the crimes and arrives where Shakti Baba is already waiting. Kid wants to know if Shakti knows who he is and why he killed his mother. Shakti doesn't seem to care about these questions and instead shows his slippers to Kid, trying to appear as a simple man. Suddenly, Kid hears a helicopter and momentarily looks away. Shakti takes advantage of this moment and attacks Kid, injuring him with nails hidden inside his slippers. Before Shakti can attack again, Kid stops him and kills him with his own pointed nails. In that moment, Kid feels like a powerful figure, like Hanuman in the Ramayana. He finally feels at peace and imagines himself with his mother, walking on a mountain and singing a beautiful song. The movie ends there. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe to our channel for more videos.